Welcome, class. Today you will get to hear and see a glimpse of 1 Peter. Does anyone know who wrote this book?
Peter?
Yes, actually. Traditionally, this letter was written by Peter, but today scholars believe that it was actually written by an unknown author in memory of Peter. Who was Peter writing to?
I think the audience this letter was addressed to were Christians in Babylon and Asia Minor.
Perfect. Anyone know when this book was written?
If Peter wrote this letter, it would have been dated to 60 to 64 BCE. If it were written by the unknown author, it would be dated to the 80s or 90s BCE.
Brilliant.
Great answer. Now here are a few problems that Peter was trying to address in the letter. One problem was the persecution and suffering of Christians. Peter compares the Christians' current suffering to Christ's suffering in the saying in chapter 2, verse 20.
If you endure when you are beaten for doing wrong, what credit is that? But if you endure when you do right and suffer for it, you have God's approval.
Peter's solution to the problem of the persecution is that they just have to endure, because Christ suffered for them. He also says in chapter 4, verse 13 to,
But rejoice insofar as you are sharing Christ's sufferings, so that you may also be glad and shout for joy when his glory is revealed.
The second problem that Peter addresses is that of how to treat your spouse. He tells the people in chapter 3, verses 1 and 2 that,
Wives, in the same way, accept the authority of your husbands, so that even if some of them do not obey the word, they may be won over without a word by their wives' conduct, when they see the purity and reverence of your lives.
Peter then goes on to say in verse 7 that likewise,
Husbands, in the same way, show consideration for your wives in your life together, paying honor to the women as the weaker sex, since they too are also heirs of the gracious gift of life, so that nothing may hinder your prayers.
There were also a couple theological themes in this letter, one being that of good works. Peter is telling Christians of Asia Minor that they need to do good and be good, despite the fact that they are being persecuted left and right from their fellow citizens. What else is he telling these Christians?
He's also telling them that they need to be able to bear the good news of Jesus Christ to unbelievers.
Very good. Can you guys think of another theme in 1 Peter?
Is hope one of them?
Yes. Peter is telling these suffering Christians to have hope in the face of persecution, and to be able to give persuasive reasons of that hope in order to spread Christianity to non-believers. Any more themes?
I've seen some evidence of unjust suffering.
Absolutely. Many newly converted Christians thought that the persecution they were receiving was the gods of their old religion punishing them for believing in a false god. Peter is trying to convince them that this is not true, that even Christ suffered, and that they should remain hopeful. Christians are supposed to follow in Christ's footsteps, so the suffering that these people are going through, while unjust, is not a reason to lose hope. That is all we have for class time today. Thank you, and class dismissed.